Today on the Blazers Are Cool show, the Blazers are battered, bruised, broken right now. Their list of injuries is about a mile long. We can't seem to catch a break. And with this game coming up tonight, even Shaedon and Drew continue to be out. So there's a lot going wrong for the Blazers right now. And as losers of 6 of our last 7, I think it is, especially after that heartbreaker to Chicago, things are looking a little bleak. However, we're here to tell you that things have a good chance of turning around, and we have some solutions that we think the Blazers, namely Thiago Splitter, should look into to try to reverse this situation and bring some wins back to Portland. I want to thank you guys for continuing to tune in and listen to us all season long. I know things are getting tough with how the Blazers are playing right now, but stick through it. Keep your head down. Listen to Dame, who's telling us that everything's going to be all right. This is just the biggest test this young team has had to face. We'll get through it together. So if you want to see the Blazers turn their season around, hit a like for us. We think it'll put some juju in the air. Hit a subscribe if you're new here, but only if you enjoy watching our video. And without further ado, let's try to solve the Portland Trail Blazers a little bit. Brad, it's been 2 more games since we last talked on Monday. The Blazers unfortunately got smacked around by the Suns in what looked like a complete out-efforting in my eyes. I don't know. It felt like we were...
Really?
I don't know.
The Shaedon Sharpe effect.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
That might just be more with how hard the Suns play. Like, maybe we need to get on their level because I think they've been playing really great to start this season. But nevertheless, we got outclassed in that game, and then a Bulls game where it felt like we were getting outclassed for the first 3 quarters, and then one magical 4th quarter run all of a sudden took shape. The Bulls finally began to miss some shots. We started to make our shots, and we had the win in our grasps, and unfortunately just couldn't find a way to close the deal and lost.
We did find a way. We totally found a way.
We had won the
way
game
possible, and then just blew it.
Yeah, we lost on our 2nd buzzer beater of the season, 3rd in the calendar year with the Knicks one and the Mikal Bridge games.
We're the only team to have that.
Only team to lose by 3 true buzzer beaters in this year.
You know, I was at that Knicks game.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it was terrible. Free tickets. From oh my gosh, what's our ticket guy's name? There's a chance he watches. Marcel, you said him a couple times on the phone. Yeah, I think shout out to Marcel, who calls us twice a year. He's like, you guys want free club tickets? We're like, yes,
please.
I want to see us lose on a buzzer beater.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, we are now 6-9, still 10th in the West. We do have, I don't know if I would call it a sizable lead, but it feels like a drop off between the teams in the West that are struggling, plus the Jazz, who are kind of above what you would think they are, and the rest of the teams in the top 10. We do have a big gap between us and the next highest team, which I think is the Warriors, who we play tonight. So we're in this middle ground of, like, we're not this completely bottoming out nightmare situation, but we aren't really playing like a good team right now at all. So we've shown flashes. We've now regressed pretty heavily into being I think you could say, bad team at the moment. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to figure out what's going on. And the biggest issue with all of it are our injuries. We are just depleted. We're running Caleb Love and company far too much, which, a quick point, with all the injuries we've been having, all the people we've been playing, Ryan Rupert has gotten no run still, which, if you've been here long enough, you maybe saw our Ryan Rupert breakout video, and we might have to scrub that one from the internet.
I need to talk to a therapist about why I got on that manic Ryan Rupert high. Just that one day. We talked about this before. The day before, I was like, nah, I don't think he's really going to work out. Next day, I was like, nah, I'm not really think he's going to work out. One day, I was like, Rupert's the goddamn man.
He's the man.
I saw a picture of the size of his hands or something. I was like, all right, this guy's next up.
Yeah, I think I learned his wingspan, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. He must have grown or something. And then
it's on paper, it's like, how does this guy not at least kind of good. But it's a
Yeah.
bummer. You can't even find minutes on the most depleted team in the NBA.
It's crazy.
And when he does, it's like, okay, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, right. So a lot of ugly stuff going on, I think you could say, for the Blazers. But, I think Jason Quick released an article today on Dame and how he's meshing with the team in sort of a leadership role, and his, gave some really good classic Dame insight on the whole situation of like, now's the time to put our heads down and not, let this thing unravel. It's time to actually like show what you're made of. And so what, I guess, Brad, I want to ask you is, what do you think the Blazers need to do right now to put together some wins to start to turn the momentum and get back to that team, even with some of the guys out that were a big part of those first early season wins, get back to that energy and that sort of that type of play that we saw at the beginning of the season?
Well, hopefully listen to Dame, because I mean, like, he has to be they should, because he's got to be the most resilient man on the face of this planet, because he's had like 12 years of almost entirely losing.
Yeah.
And he's still like, tough. It's like a 12-year tough break for Dame. Like, good times are coming.
Good time.
And I love that. It's awesome. I mean, it's tough because, like you said, we're completely depleted by injuries, right? Mm-hmm. So it's easy to say, oh, we're hurt, we're not going to play well. But I think you'd agree with this. It's not the injuries that are bothersome, it's how we're playing.
Yeah.
Even with like the guys who are healthy. Because, I mean, the Suns game, for example, actually, it was a difference in the Suns game and the Bulls game. The Bulls game, I thought, even when we were losing, I thought, okay, I like how we're playing. I was like, this is what we're down big time in injuries, so we're losing the bench minutes. But I really liked how the starting lineup was playing. I thought, we have a run in us, which we showed we did. That was how I want us, for the most part, to play even with injuries, because that Suns game, we sucked right off the bat.
Yeah.
Because you don't feel injuries until the bench comes in.
Right.
We were sucking, with the starting lineup from the very beginning, and we needed a Caleb Love miracle game.
Right.
I mean, not even we got the full Caleb Love experience
in those two games.
In those two games of like 20 points off the bench, making absolutely everything on every shot he's never disliked a shot ever. And then the next game he went 1 for 12. Is that what it was?
I think 1 for 12, 0 for 7 from 3 or something. It was we needed his like you said, the flip flop both sides. And in one game, our starting lineup got absolutely crushed, and Caleb Love actually kept us afloat. In this last game, we were basically bogged down by his shooting.
But I thought what was cool about the last game, even though we lost, was we saw a glimpse of what could work even with an injury depleted team.
Yeah.
And that to me is less zone. That's slowing it down ever so slightly offensively. That's letting Deni be the primary first option and ball handler. And when you kind of put those together, you get, okay, this is a competitive team who works on both sides of the ball. Because the advantage of having Deni being the guy with the ball is, I don't know if I'm guessing you have seen the stat, but he's leading the league in assists out of drives. Mm. That's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
That's like LeBron stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like how LeBron, because you watch him, he looks like a mini LeBron. Yeah. They play like Miami LeBron. We've talked about this. Yeah. He plays like a diet version of Miami LeBron, which is drive. And I love that he actually looks to pass before he scores.
Yeah. Well, the last game, he had 11 assists, which shocked me. Because he had 11 assists with the team we had on the floor around him, with no Shaedon, no Drew, no Scoot. Like, he was dishing out assists to... And, like, no one on the bench made any of their shots. They were, like, 5 of 26 combined. So he was just driving, kicking, finding Donovan, finding Jeremy, just feeding them all night into what was amazing nights for them.
100%. It used Jeremy's skills so well, too. Yeah. Because, I mean, Jeremy's the best when we're not using him as a guy to find his own shot. And when you have a guy like Deni who's driving and dishing, that makes Jeremy's role make so much more sense on offense.
Yeah.
Where he's a guy who can be a play finisher as opposed to a guy who's trying to find a shot on his own.
Yeah.
So he's like a one-man offense, dude. And it's obviously not right now that wouldn't be enough to, win a championship. But him leading the way, getting everyone involved, seeing a much more balanced shot attempts from the team. I think he took the most shots with 22.
Yeah, 11 for
And fifth
22.
most was like 16 or
Yeah.
something, or fourth most maybe. So if you're down a lot of guys, I think it's more important to balance the team out, not get so many shots from one or two guys. I think that's what we saw last night. And Deni's such a pace setter that when he gets the ball and he's the man with the ball, I think the intensity of the game increases for the team, or the way we're playing, how we're playing together, and on both sides too, because it's just it's very what's the word I'm looking for? It just rubs off on the team.
Yeah.
And you see a big difference when he's the guy who's taking the majority of the shots, or he's the guy who's the primary ball handler.
Yeah.
And I know I'm you know what I'm
Should we address let me open up the elephant in the room in the sense that,
I was gonna let you do it because we've been fighting about this a lot lately. And I'm just like, a part of me is just trying to piss you off.
Well, I know exactly where it's coming from. So to fill you guys in, we've had many a conversation about Shaedon in the past, I don't know, week or so, ever since the Mavs game primarily.
We've been butting heads. The Blazing the Cool podcast might be in shambles.
We might be breaking up over Shaedon 1 year into our podcast. But I think I'm just going to bat for Shaedon more so than you for sure. But to explain Brad's stance, it's the way he described that Deni situation is that it should be a lot more of Deni than Shaedon, whereas recently it's been more of Shaedon than Deni. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people out there will agree with that more so. I think there's definitely a faction that believes Shaedon's usage and these attempts he's getting should stay high because it's about development rather than winning now. And it's about turning Shaedon into that efficient scorer that people believe he can be. I think the problem is he's so far away from being that and showing that in the way he's being used right now that it's hard to get behind the fact that we just let him keep hucking these threes, shooting these mid-range shots. He's not even a good mid-range shooter this year. He's one of the 10 worst, I think I saw today, who have shot at least 25 mid-range shots and field goal percentage on a list with Giannis. So
Giannis has been bad for the mid-range this year?
Yeah, he's been really bad. He was good last year. He's just so unbelievably good in the paint that it's masking everything. But but the point being, I think most everyone would agree there's a change that should happen with Shaedon, or he should be used in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
But I think what you're saying is more so that Shaedon should be pushed out to the bench. Is that an accurate way?
I don't know. I don't think that. I'm not sure about that. I mean, my problem is not with. It makes it sound like I have this deep problem with Shaedon. My problem is not with Shaedon. It's the way Shaedon's being used.
Yes. And I agree with that.
Because I don't know why everyone acts like I'm insane for thinking that. Because where would you put Shaedon as if you're ranking the players on the team
in terms of importance to
fifth?
What, the future, or to the
just current, right now? If you're ranking the best players on the team, Shaedon be fifth. Deni's better for sure.
I'm having a really difficult time going back and forth. It's Drew, Deni, Klingon,
Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm having a difficult time discerning the difference between Shaedon and Jeremy because Jeremy's shooting so well. I'm just so tripped up on the fact that Jeremy's net rating is still really bad and Shaedon's is really good, and I can't figure out why. So that's holding me back a bit. But ultimately, I would go Deni, Klingon, Drew, Jeremy, Shaedon, and then everyone else.
Agreed. So is that fifth?
Yes, fifth.
Agreed. And I don't know why it's insane for me to think that our fifth best player should lead the NBA in usage and should always get more shots than Deni Avdija. I also just don't quite understand because if it's about development, okay. I don't know why there's an emphasis on development for Shaedon more so than there is for Deni.
Yeah.
Deni's 2 years older.
Yeah.
We have 27, 7, and 6. And I would love, because you watch Shaedon play, he's a guy who's struggling shooting from mid-range and three. He's a guy who is God level inside the paint when driving, especially because what I've loved about these last few games is we're finally giving Shaedon a runway to the hoop. I've been so annoyed because my complaint about Shaedon, not my complaint, criticism of Shaedon has been that he clearly struggles when playing against physicality, especially like on the perimeter mostly.
Yeah.
And it was annoying to watch Shaedon's shot attempts come a lot from being like, here's the ball, go. And then being surprised when his shooting percentages are bad.
Yeah.
Because I thought, well, you're giving a guy who's still pretty slim and doesn't have a very good handle, like, figure it out.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing all these awesome, like, I love seeing Shaedon bring up the ball. He tosses it to Donovan at the top, and then he just sprints, and Donovan does that little handoff, simple screen. He has a runway to the hoop. If you do that, Shaedon's going to get you shoot 60 to 70% at the hoop and shoot, put together 18 to 20 points.
Yeah. Well, do you think also like, because this is kind of how I
interpret it. That's not a number one option type of style.
I know. Well, that's why, and this is one thing I said when we were texting one time was like, he's a play finisher, and then you were like, well, how's one of the worst 3-point shooters in the league a play finisher? I was like, well, do you see any merit in like him being better off if like he's kind of put in that Jeremy role of like Deni shoots and then kicks to Shaedon, and then Shaedon can either attack a closeout or he has more of an open catch and shoot to try and then find that rhythm from three? Or do you think the shooting's just so non-existent right now that putting him in any sort of off-ball role is worth it? Because if he's not able to be in an off-ball role, then it feels like his minutes should be entirely staggered with Deni's, and they should maybe only close the games together, if anything, right?
Yeah, I like Yeah, that's a good question. There's this kind of, I don't know if myth is the right word, misconception, I think, that Shaedon's low shooting percentages are solely due to shot selection, which they definitely, especially this season, are due to shot selection in some ways. He's a bad wide open 3-point shooter.
Right.
You can look this, everyone can look this up right now. Go to NBA.com advanced stats, go to the shooting dashboard. When he is open and when he is wide open, he shoots sub 30%.
Yeah.
When he has a guy who's 6 feet plus away from him from three, he's shooting less than 30%. Shaedon's problems with shooting are not just shot selection. It's my least favorite thing, because I see it on Twitter, on Reddit a lot, is when guys try to like diagnose shooting form problems. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But I'm going to do it right now. You watch every shot, even his wide open shots, look off balance. I don't know anything about shooting forms. I'm not going to pretend to, like a lot of people, because that happened a lot with Scoot. Where it's like, actually, the problem with Scoot's shot is that he has to keep his right elbow tucked more a little bit, while his right side hip is more in line with the visual of the hoop. I'm like, what the hell are you guys talking about? You know what I'm talking about? But I mean, you watch a good, spot up shooter, it's repeatable.
Yeah.
Shaedon has like the least repeatable shot ever, and it's why I think he's so good at these, driving to the hoop, these off balance shots. Even though he's not been a good mid-range shooter this year, I think he is a good mid-range shooter. That's something I hope comes around, and think it will, because he has such a good touch. But 3-point shooting isn't about touch to me, unless you're a guy like Curry who can make everything off balance. It's usually about repeatability.
Yeah.
And anyone who's played basketball for 5 minutes knows it doesn't, take an NBA player to know that good spot up shooting is about having a good base and being able to repeat it. Yeah. But what was your question again?
Well, so I guess just the point is, the point being, like, how do we use him then? Because I think, we're both recognizing that he needs to be used in a different way to become more efficient. Like, he's had some really good games recently. He's had some games where he's, the Mavericks game where he's going 12 of 32. Like, the inefficiency is so hard to wrangle in for him. And I think, again, everyone can agree that there is a little bit of way, but if he can't be that spot up catch and shoot 3-point shooter, then is there any other way to use him besides staggering him with Deni? Because I think he's been a pretty solid put the ball in his hands and go score, but just not good enough to what we need, and not as good as Deni, right? And we don't want to detract from Deni with Shaedon's inefficiencies.
Well, I mean, it sucks to say this, but I don't know if it sucks, but I don't know why we are so opposed to him being an elite six man.
Yeah,
Because if you look at roles in the NBA, even though it's lesser now, because I think the Jamal Crawford role is a little more non-existent now.
sure.
Um, but when you look at guys who are absolutely elite at one thing on offense, that's a bench scorer.
Yeah.
Because Shane is elite at attacking the basket. But you see a clear difference. I mean, I can't think of a more comparable comparison. Is that a stupid thing to say? I can't think of a more like easy comparison than seeing these two games that we just played, where we played one game without Shaedon, one game with back to back against, I would say, very equal teams.
Yeah.
And it's not just that shots went in the second game or that the defense did this. There was an obvious style of play difference. Because one of the big arguments I've been getting from you and from a lot of people online is like, well, who else is going to take the shots? Because I was like, I don't think in any way Shaedon should ever be taking 32 shots. I don't think that's good for Shaedon.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, who do you want to take the shot? CD? And my answer is always like, kind of. Like, I think if we're going to be down guys, I think it's more important, as you saw last night, to see more balanced scoring. If you're down guys and you have one guy take all the shots, it gets guys less involved on both ends. Because I'm a big believer that what you do on offense affects what you do on defense. What you do on defense affects what you do on offense. And when you have a guy who's, the primary shooter who isn't even our best scorer, that allows for the opposing defenses, knowing that there's not really any other guys that you're going to go to just guard that guy.
Yeah.
And it takes other guys on the team out of the game. And we saw last night or 2 nights ago against Chicago that, we get so much more involved play when we have a guy who's more willing to get other guys involved, like Deni running the offense.
Yeah. I think the way I picture it best is when you look at that game against Chicago and you think, okay, what if Shaedon took every shot or had every opportunity that Caleb Love did?
Sure.
Right? And then you'd be like, well, that would be good because Shaedon would, I don't know, he's shooting about 50% in the last couple games. You trim down the threes. Obviously, don't want him shooting 7 threes, but Caleb Love missed all of his threes, so Shaedon has to make one to be better than that. But it feels like it would flow better if Shaedon is able to do the stuff he's been good at right now, which is just kind of, have some ball movement, get an opportunity to run downhill and go score at the hoop like he's so good at. But he just does that when Deni's on the bench exclusively, and then there will be some times where they share the court together, and there are times
I like them closing together.
Yeah, I like them closing together when we need scoring. Like, Shaedon's been doing a good job of maintaining his defensive effort and defensive level when we're running the small ball lineup that we love to go to so much, which I have my own gripes about in that final possession of the Bulls game, kind of, but
I'm so mad about that. I agree. I think I agree with you on that.
There's people who disagree and will still say that, but I don't know. Anyways, but I think we should just be open to it. And I think as what you're especially trying to say, and I think what we're both trying to say is that us in the fan base and the organization can have an opportunity, and it can be okay to try out Shaedon as the 6-man role with this team. I know Jeremy's been incredible in the 6-man role, but I don't think there's any reason why Shaedon couldn't also be incredible in the 6-man role.
And I think Jeremy showed he's better in the starting role last.
Jeremy did amazing in the starting role next to Deni. That's how we've been wanting Jeremy to be used for a while now, is just a catch and shoot shooter or an off the dribble slasher. And Shaedon should be used in the same way, but he can't shoot. So putting Jeremy next to Deni in that situation, and then Shaedon off the bench against lesser defensive competition, most likely, which we've seen time and time again throughout this past year and a half at least, that he thrives way better when it's not an elite rim protector in the paint, and there's less, strong, sturdy guards that will usually make starting lineups in front of him. When he has lesser competition, look at the Pelicans game, he thrives. And so if he's put in that spot, but he's put in it just like it's still okay that he's there. It's not a slander.
Yeah.
He's not getting paid like a starter anymore. Like, it's all these things that, like, he can just be the sixth man, and we have plenty of talent ahead of him, and then he can be put with Matisse, Blake, Chris Murray, Rob Williams, and then he's got the defensive infrastructure around him. He can go just attack the basket over and over and over again because he doesn't need, like, we don't need kick-out shooters for him to even pass to. Just let him be the offense.
Yep. And like you said, he'd be playing against other teams' benches more, which we've seen. We've always said this, Shaedon is at his best. And you can say this for a lot of guys. I think it's very true for Shaedon that Shaedon's at his best when playing against lesser defenses.
Yeah.
Which some guys aren't like that. Some guys, their role, like, if you're a shooter, if you're this or that, like, you're dependent on the guys you're playing with. Shaedon's more dependent on the guys he's playing against.
Yeah.
And yeah, my problem is I'm good with his usage rate as long as it's coming against the right opponents, as long as it's in the right lineups.
Yeah, and it's not detracting from Deni's.
Exactly.
Deni's is higher than Shaedon's now, and Deni's is pretty much one of the highest in the league.
Yeah,
but I think, I don't know, it should just basically stay that way and a little less from Shaedon and maybe a little more. So I don't know.
There's only been 2 games this season where Deni has taken more shots than Shaedon, and I think we can all agree Deni's our best player, and that's ridiculous. But again, it's not even just about shot attempts. It's about getting other people involved. Deni is our most avid passer too. And as we saw last night, that gets guys like Jeremy involved. It got guys like Chris involved. Got guys like Donovan involved. Shaedon, just doesn't quite have that effect. Like we got to give him credit that he's become a guy who is not benchable for his defense.
Yeah.
Which is awesome to see. We give him big credit for that. But we just want to see Shaedon in a role that makes him thrive the most. And also another point, I feel like doesn't get talked about enough. Based on Shaedon's contract, he's not by the front office valued as the number one option.
Yeah, totally.
He got fifth. Yeah, he got fifth best player, 6-man money.
Yeah. So it's
know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's not. He's not in a situation where it's like we got to play Shaedon because he needs to turn the star. It's like if he just became a 6-man, he would be getting the dollar amount for it. Like that's what, like you said, what they value him for it. So I think that because we kind of started this with like, how do the Blazers find some wins, right? And I think, first of all, as of the time of the recording this, we don't know the status of Shaedon's calf injury. We're just hoping that it's because we haven't heard any bad news yet, that it's good. So we obviously want Shaedon out there. He's a great player who's been doing a lot. But I think the first answer to that question of us is to stagger Shaedon and Deni a bit more. And I think that comes from a coaching decision. Because Shaedon's been told and coddled by this fan base and organization to go shoot. This is your team. Go be the creator.
Not his fault.
Yeah. So I think Tiago needs to find it within himself to instill that. And figure out a rotation that works in that way, even with this depleted roster. And I think Shaedon does come off the bench off the court first in the starting lineup. So I think he's at least somewhat aware of it. But that I think kind of leads into the other part for me, which is I've been a Tiago supporter, believer, especially after those first games we won, and we've talked about this before. And we mentioned briefly the zone. But what's been the problem so far in these past couple of games has been defense more than offense. Our defense
100%,
rating
which we said. Yeah.
So we're nitpicking on the Shaedon stuff when in reality him and Deni are both doing their part on offense. It's just there's room for improvement, as there always is for any team, really, unless you're the Thunder. But the problem has been the defense. And I think what needs to be happening now, if it's sacrificing pace, so be it. I still think we can find a way to play the pace in this style, but it's tailoring our defense to Donovan Clingan and doing nothing else that sacrifices his defensive talents. Because we saw in that Chicago game how unreal he can be when he's firing on the offensive glass, when he's firing as a defender, when he's fully engaged. Like,
you think that was his best game ever?
Totally. I totally think so. He was dominant. at creating extra possessions, which is awesome. But I I put this stat out there. I watched every defensive possession from the Bulls game and counted whether we were in man or zone for all of them. And we were in man for about 60% of them, 60 possessions, and our defensive rating was a 100. We were in our 3-2 gimmicky zone, which was run a lot with the bench players, including Young Hansen, who we'll get to as well. And we ran those for about 29 possessions, and our defensive rating was a 127, I think is what it was. I don't have it pulled up. And then we got torched in transition a couple times, but that's just the Bulls' name of the game. And, we had some really bad steals that led to those. So we had like a defensive rating of 155 there. But from that small sample size to what it confirmed what I was seeing with my eyes, which was that this 3-2 zone doesn't work.
No.
It's forcing Klingon and Hansen, whenever it's run with either of them in, to go all the way to the corner and guard the corner man and the rim at the same time, which is just stupid. It's forcing us to leave shooters when we're getting torched by. We've been getting torched by shooters all season long, and it's like I said, it's being run by the bench more, which is making these guys who we just picked out, like Javonte Cook, have to run a semi-complex 3-2 zone and try to pass off players like that. So that doesn't make any sense to me. I think we should only be man playing drop coverage because that's what Klingon and Hansen are good at. But I think they both need to get better at covering a stretch big for sure. And that's a challenge in the NBA everywhere. But point being, I think we need to think more about using Klingon like our anchor, like the anchor he is.
Yes. I 100% agree because I feel like my main issue with Thiago is I think he is prioritizing our speed over anything else, no matter what. Yeah. And he said that in all his post-game pressers and pre-game pressers, that we're playing fast.
Yeah.
That's our style. That's how we want to play. And it seems like he's wanting us to play like that, even if it hurts us in the short term, which I hate because we as Blazer fans, we've had years of prioritizing the offense over the defense because that's what that's doing. That's prioritizing the offense over the defense. And I was so stoked in the second half of last season. I was like, finally, look at how the Thunder are playing. I don't know why every championship team, the Warriors, for example, everyone tries to copy them. No one's trying to copy the Thunder of just being like the most elite, unbelievable defense in the NBA. It would seem like that's what we were trying to do with how we constructed this team. But we have, even with guys out, we have such a well-constructed defensive team and prioritizing our speed because I think that's why we're going with the 3-2. That's what Lamar said during the game against the Bulls. He said, like coaches said, to the guys that they're doing this to conserve energy so that they can run more on offense. And I'm like, God damn it, dude. Because when you have a guy like Klingon, when you have a guy like Tumani, who I think is being hurt by this pace, who's being hurt by this speed. Tumani's having a terrible season.
Yeah.
I think luckily most Blazer fans can be honest about that right now, which I like to see. I like when we call it how we see it. Tumani's been bad defensively, but it's Tumani. We know he's not a bad defensive player. When he's been this bad, it's time to look at how is he being set up to fail in a way. And one with his absolute added responsibility offensively to be more of a ball handler, to be more of a passer, which I think is a small part of it, but more so it's this insane speed that we're playing with. Because I sent you this stat that there is only one team who's top 10 in pace, but also top 10 in defense, and that's the Mavericks, who suck. So it's like, realistically, looking at that, it's not, and last year the only team was the Thunder, who you look at the last few years, being able to play at an insanely high pace and still have a great defense is kind of an anomaly. This year, the Thunder are bottom 5 in pace and are having the greatest defensive season in the history of the NBA. And like you said, it neutralizes Klingon too. And we saw in that Bulls game, this is where I get so pissed off, because we saw in that Bulls game, we saw in that first quarter of the Heat game, the third quarter of the first Lakers game, I think, where when we play more of a using Klingon as a drop big, which to give Klingon credit, he has been statistically, as we said in the last video, our best 3-point defender. Yeah. which is hilarious that we're asking this guy who's a 7'3", massive mountain of a man to be this mobile three-point shooting defender, which, I mean, when you just say that, it's so ridiculous that that's how he's being used at all.
Yeah.
We're making him. You should want a guy like Klingon to be forced to guard the three.
Yeah.
And be happy when he's doing well. We're prioritizing that he's guarding the three.
Yeah.
What the hell, dude?
And we're taking him away from the rim too, which he is the best, or maybe if you want to put him behind Wemby, I'll give it to you, but one of the top 3 best rim protectors in the league, no question. And we're playing the style of defense, which is literally pulling him away from it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And again, when it comes to Tumani, who people are stunned with some of his defensive lapses this year. I'm not completely. I've always, and I've said this on this channel before, that I've always thought he was a pretty average off-ball defender. I've always thought he was. I mean, his role is he's an elite full court presser. He is an elite charge getter, and he's a guy who can take your guy one-on-one. What we're seeing right now is him not being used in that role at all over the last few games. He's barely guarding a full court press anymore.
Yeah.
It's been lessened and lessened and lessened every single game. And again, I think that is to prioritize speed on offense.
Yeah. But I think, my thing is that I think this all came from, we came into the season like, let's play fast, let's get steals and run in transition. And this all came from this idea that we're a terrible half-court offense.
Sure.
Right? We can't shoot. We can't do it. Like, we don't have the guys who are going to – we don't have a Luka who's just going to make stuff happen for everyone.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at this team, I'm like, dude, Deni can do that pretty well. And
last year he led the league in ISO points.
Yeah, and and like we said, he's driving, kicking well. Like, Donovan Klingon's definitely a way better offensive player in the half court with a complex scheme, right? He's someone who understands how to screen, how to rescreen, he can play this stuff. We've seen it at UConn, right? So he's better in the half court on offense. Jeremy has been awesome at getting to the free throw line, at hitting his catch and shoot shots. Like, he's been a good half court offensive player. And Shaedon hasn't been efficient, but like you just throw him in the right downhill movement or just give him the guy to go one-on-one with, and he can get you a bucket. So to me, I felt like we did this we made this whole plan so that we could make our offense a lot better because our defense was just going to be good. We all know that, right? And then now we're in this situation where our defense sucks and our offense is super fine to, I think, pretty decent in the half court. And we're still sticking with the idea that we need to play fast to go help our offense out. And so why don't we just try reorganizing it? And if the takeaway is that like the game's going to slow down, it's going to get tighter, we're going to play like just less possessions, we're still in a close game literally every single game. It's not like we're blowing teams out and then getting blown out. We're literally coming down to the wire and having to play a half court set every single time. So why not play that during the whole game and play to our defensive strengths to fix the side of the ball that is clearly struggling?
At least for now, while we're not healthy.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Because, I mean, we saw at the beginning of the season that, okay, maybe this could work when we have 10 guys you can play. We have like 4 guys we can play right now. So it's like, why? It's the lack of adjustment to what guys are available to me has been baffling.
Yeah.
And then especially when you see so clearly that when we play the way that you and I are talking about right now, it works.
Yeah.
We played mostly man. I even thought Tumani, outside of that just mind-boggling bad defensive lapse at the last play of the game, I mean, I blame that on Tumani.
For sure. He blames
it. And it sounds like Tiago said there was not supposed to be any help there.
Yeah.
He overhelped. We lost the game on the open 3. But I thought even when we started playing more of a half-court defense, Tumani looked better in that game.
Yeah, he had a really big block. He had a really big help block down the stretch. Yeah. He had a bad foul on Kobe White, but I think a lot of people probably draw that foul. I know Deni definitely would. Deni was also fouling down the stretch.
Yeah, and you look at we've talked about this too at the beginning of the when we were doing our previews for the season. We said I don't think we're actually going to be a top 10 team in pace.
Yeah,
that was our prediction. We thought because we every season. Sorry, every season we talk about
Being
the
fast.
team talks about how we want to play faster, and we thought we're not buying it for two reasons. One, we always say it doesn't really happen, and two, it didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
If we were prioritizing being a defensive team, it didn't make sense to also be the fastest team in the NBA because there's never once in the history of the NBA had a team who was a top 2 defense and also the fastest.
Yeah.
And I think that's proven to be right. And I hope that we start to prioritize the defensive end of the ball of the court because as we saw in the Bulls game, that's where we succeed the most. Yeah. Especially with that goddamn 3-2 zone, dude.
The 3-2 zone has to be eliminated in my eyes.
Throw it out sometimes as a trick.
Yeah.
Zone in the NBA, I mean, it takes literally 2 minutes of playing freaking 2K to get this. I don't know if you play 2K online, you go to a 3-tune, it takes idiots playing a video game to be like, oh, that leaves the open corner 3.
Yeah.
Oh, just drive and get the corner 3.
Yeah.
And then we're stunned when teams are shooting like 48% from 3 during games. Like, yeah, dude, they're getting nonstop open corner 3 from this goddamn 3-2 zone.
Yeah. That's what happened in the Bulls game. We started in man and then went to the 3-2 zone at the start of the third quarter because we were getting torched in man. And that did help a little bit. But
yeah, it helps in spurts.
Yeah.
It does not help when you're playing it for insanely long possessions. It's good if you want to throw off the offense for like a couple possessions. Yeah. Absolutely go for that. It keeps them on their toes. But I was texting this. I love watching our games with non-Blazer fans.
Yeah.
Because they're watching our defense. And this is what I did this weekend. And they're watching, they're like, what the fuck are we doing? What is this zone? Yeah. They're like laughing in my face. Like, this is insane. So
it's easy to see. So
yeah,
I think ultimately to round all that up, the two things we think can turn around the Blazers right now are a better usage of Shaedon, which includes more Deni, and a focus on playing slower, more aggressive on defense and catering it to our best defensive player, which is Donovan Clingan. And I think
the baby Thunder. We have the opportunity to be the baby Thunder right now. Let's do it.
Or just like even like how the the Timberwolves play with Gobert back there. Like I don't know. That we have a lot of routes to be better. And I think we all see that.
And Thiago, if you're watching, it doesn't mean we have to be the 30th in pace.
Yeah. It'd just be like 20th or 15th.
Even 10th.
Yeah.
Just something that prioritizes defense over just nonstop speed because it's clearly hurting us.
Yeah. So coming up, it sucks because those last two games felt like games that we should have won. I mean, we're favored in the Suns game, and we saw how close it was in the Bulls game. So it sucks to have dropped those games. It feels, we're 6-9. It feels like we're 3 shots away from 9-6.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Of like between these last handful of games. So it's easy to feel scared when you look ahead and we see that we are at Golden State, at the Thunder, at the Bucks, and then we come home with the Spurs, who don't have Wemby, and the Bucks don't have Giannis, thankfully, for the 2 games they're playing. I believe no Giannis. And then the Thunder again at home. Those are our next 5 games.
Can you imagine we get the Thunder their second loss?
That would be unbelievable.
It would be so awesome.
Yeah. So these are teams that are all very good. I mean, the Spurs have still been great without Wemby. The Bucks have been hit or miss without Giannis for sure. So that one feels a little more winnable. But on the road, that's the second night of a back-to-back after we play the Thunder as well. So we're not in good spots. However, I think encapsulating all of this, it feels to me like we have hit the bottom of it.
I feel that way too.
Of at least our play.
We're only going to get healthier from here.
Yeah.
We're learning what works better. I'm still pretty, and also thank God the West kind of sucks.
Yeah. Right.
Because that's the thing. That's why I keep remembering. It's like, actually, even we could get worse and still be in the play-in.
Yeah. Totally. There's so many teams below us that either want to lose or can't find a way to win. That it feels like our floor is still pretty high. And so
agreed.
I guess my heartfelt monologue here to tell you all is that I don't think the wins are really going to start to rack up quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
We're still in a spot where it's like we just got to steal one, we just got to take one, and it's unfortunate the ones that we did drop in these past couple games. However, to that point, I think look more at how we're playing than what's actually happening on the scoreboard, and I think it's going
right now.
I believe it's going to get better. I actually feel good about the game tonight. It looks like all their guys are playing, but I watched some of that Warriors Heat game the other night, and those role players are struggling. So if we can just make it a little hard on Steph, hopefully Tumani can do a little bit of that. I think
is that in Golden State?
It is in Golden State, right. NBA Cup night. So
again,
it's tough games on the schedule, but I feel good about the spirit of this team, especially with how that end of that Bulls game went and how we kept fighting. There's been a couple games this season where we just kept fighting and pulled out a victory when we shouldn't have. And so I think more of those are coming. How many, I don't know, and I think it's ultimately going to still be a losing record in these next 5 games because we're playing 2 games against maybe the best team of all time. But the upswing in both regards is coming, and I think we just have to weather this storm, like Dame has told us, like this team has been saying that they're still playing together, they're taking responsibility. So just head down, keep battling through these tough losses. But there will be some more sunshine and rainbows on the other side when we get to play the Pacers and the Nets and the Wizards and the Hornets and all these teams that suck.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm 100% with you. I completely agree with all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Blazers still feel cool.
They still feel cool.
We could get to a point where they're feeling less cool. I still think they feel very, very cool. And thank God we have Dame.
Yeah.
Just want to say that too. I mean, what a great time for him to come back.
I know, just to be the leader we all need because
I
mean, who knows really what type of raw speeches Tiago and Saint and who are giving us in that locker room. I don't know if we have much of that. So to have Dame, to have Drew, we'll be all right. We just got to get healthy. Jeremy, leader Jeremy.
And shout out to Jeremy. We're having such a good year, Jeremy defenders. It's so awesome.
I love that now the debate is like, should we bench Tumani for Jeremy? It's like, can you imagine even proposing that question to someone at the end of last season? Yeah, 2 months ago. They would have lost their mind.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening. We will hopefully, I think we'll be back around Thanksgiving time, around Turkey Day, to update you on how this next little mini road trip, next couple of games go. We appreciate you listening to the end of our podcast here, to our podcast every day. If you're a returning viewer, we really appreciate you. We're having a great time, as we always say. And other than that, the Blazers are cool. Don't forget it. Blazers are cool. We'll see you guys in about a week. Later.
See ya.